A Fox News alert, growing concern that the terror tirade in Iraq will soon be coming here to the United States.
The seeds of 9/11s are being planted all over Iraq and Syria. You don't have to believe me. This is what they're telling you they're going to do.
I am concerned, and I think all Americans should be concerned.
I guarantee you this is a problem that we will have to face. And we're either going to face it in New York City or we're going to face it here.
Well, that is pretty scary. With more on the threat, Peter Johnson Jr. joins us live.
Yeah, good morning, Steve. And I think all we have to do is look at the words of Colonel Kenneth King, who's the former commander at Camp Bucca prison in Iraq. Let's see his experience. And that's the fear coming to a city, including New York, as a result of what they're doing. It's important to understand who al-Baghdadi is. He's got a PhD in Islamic studies from Baghdad University. He's considered one of the most brutal leaders in the world now. His nickname is the Invisible Sheikh. He was detained at Camp Bucca, as you know, and then pushed out of al-Qaeda in 2013. And now we know that there's a $10 million bounty for his death or capture. Eerily similar and perceived by many of the al-Qaeda and former al-Qaeda forces, including the people at ISIS, as the logical successor to Osama bin Laden. And a lot of foreign policy experts are saying that the similarities are too eerie and too disturbing in terms of the way that Afghanistan was going in the 1990s to the way that Iraq is now proceeding in 2014. We only have to look at the radio address that al-Baghdadi gave last January. This is disturbing. He said, "Our last message is to the Americans. Soon we will be in direct confrontation, and the sons of Islam have prepared for such a day. So watch, for we are with you watching."
It's all scary about this. So that's the guy who's running ISIS right now. This is the same guy we had in prison, and now and let him loose.
And released and allegedly made a threat at the time that he left Camp Bucca. Then we need to be on the defensive and the offensive to ensure safety in our cities. It's a continuing battle in this war on terror.
We are also learning more about the leader of this terror group, a man described as the new bin Laden, the heir to bin Laden. It turns out he had been in U.S. custody until 2009 over in Iraq, when he was then handed over to the Iraqi government as part of our troop drawdown. And then he was released. Now he has led this effort to create an Islamic caliphate, a nation state ruled by harsh, radical Islamic law, and dedicated to killing, quote, non-believers and spreading its power as far as it can. Ken King is the former commander of the prison where that man was held until his release in 2009. Ken, thank you so much for being here. The most disgusting, vile terror group we've seen in recent history.
Well, Jeff, the group's mysterious leader is a man known as Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. He is so elusive that we only have a couple of grainy photographs of him. But al-Baghdadi now commands several thousand men in Iraq and Syria, where he's trying to set up a state based on Islamic law. Al-Baghdadi is so feared that some people have dubbed him the new Osama bin Laden, and the US government has placed a $10 million bounty on his head.
And here we go again. Every few years, the US government props up a new boogeyman for the masses to fear. And so the latest corporate mainstream media, terrorist propaganda, deception is in full swing. And this time it is in the form of a group called ISIS, which of course has deep occult meaning. What we are seeing here is another psychological operation being thrust on the masses to instill fear and tug at the heartstrings of every individual still stuck in the corporate, elite, government-owned mainstream media paradigm. As we have seen in the past, the shadow government, elite, and mainstream media is able to propagate blatant lies and propaganda in order to create a fictional villain and enemy of America in order to achieve their New World Order agenda. Time and time again, over the past decade, the so-called terrorist group known as Al-Qaeda has been proven to be a creation of the CIA and continues to this day to be operated by the same forces. They have proven to be nothing but fictional boogeymen, along with Osama bin Laden, aka CIA asset Tim Osman. Among researchers and activists over the years, it is common knowledge that the bin Laden death was a hoax. The mere fact that the US government has never provided any evidence whatsoever proving his death should speak volumes as to the legitimacy of the Great War on Terror and the idea of terrorists in general, and also 9/11. Bin Laden and Al-Qaeda is a fictional villain in the game of war by deception, and so is this new group called ISIS, and its leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. This so-called extremist group will likely be the scapegoat in the future false flag operation that will lead to another war. As we can see, the next 9/11 false flag fear-mongering is in full swing, and the usual culprits pushing this fear campaign is present as well. Republican South Carolina Senator, New World Order puppet and agent of evil, Lindsey Graham, is one of the key figureheads of this operation and agenda. Graham made his first fear circus go around in 2013 when he sounded the alarms of America being nuked. After Obama's State of the Union address, he stated, quote, "The world is literally about to blow up," end quote. He was then used to push the fear propaganda for the Syria operation that was no doubt meant to start World War III. He was a key mouthpiece that pushed for Syria intervention, which was proven by thousands of activists throughout alternative media and social media networks to be a complete lie, which is why intervention was so widely protested, thus why the Syria operation failed. Graham publicly stated, quote, "The United States could suffer a nuclear attack if it did not contain Syria's chemical weapons program," end quote. And, quote, "I believe that if we get Syria wrong within 6 months, and you can quote me on this, there will be a war between Iran and Israel over their nuclear program," end quote. And last but not least, Graham told a crowd in South Carolina, quote, "My fear is that it won't come to America on top of a missile, it'll come in the belly of a ship in the Charleston or New York harbor," end quote. And now he is at it again for their ISIS-Iraq operation. They use the same old puppet mouthpieces because they know the masses will not be paying attention or care.
The next 9/11 is coming from here.
That's a very serious.
That's what they say, and I agree with them.
You think that we could have another?
Oh, I think it's inevitable.
He told me and the soldiers that were around me, "I'll see you in New York."
That is just chilling.
This man, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, has his eye on New York and his intentions are evil. I'll see you guys in New York.
Yes, the fear-mongering, mind control, corporate mainstream media, this is how they do it. CNN, of course, terrifying execution images in Iraq, terrifying terrorists. See, these are the same old words. They use certain trigger words to evoke certain emotions from you regarding, anything relating to terrorism, evoking the 9/11 trauma. And that's what 9/11 was, a trauma-based mind control event. Now they can control the minds of the masses since that event, from that event, moving forward until they reach their goal. They can literally control your mind and play you like a fiddle with every event and every story that they put out using certain words. And this is how mass mind control works, through words that trigger fear. And this is how it's done. As you see here, since ISIS came about, this is what they are doing. Yes, viewer discretion is advised. So you see, these are the tactics of the media and how the government and elite use the media to usher in their New World Order agenda through these false flags, through these psychological operations. And remember, under the 2012 NDAA, and I covered this already, but propaganda, aka lying, aka bullshitting the public, is legal. It is in fact legal under the 2012 NDAA to lie to the masses, to basically execute psychological operations on the masses. And it is legal. There's not a damn thing we can do about it. We can't prosecute the media. We can't do a damn thing because it is legal under 2012 NDAA. And again, remember the occult significance of the word Isis. It's an Egyptian goddess and deity that is a favorite of the occult mysteries and secret societies that run this planet. So it's no coincidence here, this terrorist so-called extremist group called ISIS. And what do we have here? Is it also merely a coincidence, merely coincidental, that there's a contractor, U.S. government, called ISIS? Yes, no coincidence, I'm sure. ISIS provides worldwide security, intelligence, technology, and training to government and private enterprises. Our Washington, D.C. office is located in Ronald Reagan Building. We are dedicated to supporting our national defense and security departments, as well as government contractors and private business, with mission and critical services performed by highly skilled experts in their fields. Interesting. U.S. Armed Forces, U.S. government, and prime contractors on the ground in such strategic environments as the Middle East. See our locations map at the bottom. Multinational forces, Iraq, theater-wide security services. Interesting choice word. Theater-wide. Department of Defense, DOD. Anything else in Iraq? Sure. Iraqi voting legislature. Personal protective services, Iraq Coalition for Peace. Client, contract, supported organization. As you can see, now you know who is really ISIS, who is really behind ISIS and this entire operation.